Rules for the Reasonable is a book that I'm working on writing. And this is a rough draft, so there may be some stumbles, maybe some errors, but this is just putting you guys out to you the rules for the reasonable for you guys to give your feedback. And if you want to add to the discussion, or you want to provide evidence or more things you would like to add to this, please write in the comments after the video is posted, Rule 1, and then your feedback. So, Rule 1, treat every person as an individual and not accept for yourself privileges, praise, or blame for the actions of any other person. The core principle of a fair and equitable treatment where everyone has the most opportunity and freedom is individualism. It means that every person is judged only on the merits of their own words and actions. Furthermore, it refers to accepting every person has the freedom to choose for themselves how to conduct their lives, what they buy, what they do, what they say, and who they associate with, as long as they cause no harm to anyone else or restrict their abilities to do the same. This is in stark contradiction to collectivism, one of the core tenets of social justice doctrine. Collectivism is a principle that every person is to be treated as a member of a group, or under the principles of an intersectionality, multiple groups, and that individuals are responsible for the offenses done by the group. It also means that individuals are directly harmed by the mistreatment of other members of the group, past or present. However, these ideas are not applied consistently and are used more as a tool within cultural Marxism with which to mobilize minority groups against the majority. This is because where Marxism aims to take power by using the proletariat against bourgeoisie within a European class system that does not exist in the USA, cultural Marxism attempts to create division between social groups to use them to attack the majority group. The inconsistencies lie in how they will claim that all white people are responsible for the acts of racism committed by other white people, but then claim that acts of racism committed by black identitarian groups like BLM against white persons do not reflect poorly on the entirety of the group. The truth being then not all members of BLM and not all white people are guilty of the crime perpetrated by some members of those groups. The only one who is guilty of a crime are those who committed the crime or directly and knowingly supported the crime. So social justice has branded itself as fighting for equality for all by trying to right the unequal outcomes of minority groups. This may sound fair if you do not understand that equality of outcomes is completely contradictory to freedoms of will, human diversity, meritocracy, and the equality under the law. The truth is that there has never been equality of outcomes. There never will be, and there is a good reason for that. For example, if people are completely free to make their own choices, people will not make the same choices and thus will attain differing outcomes. It is important that people have the freedom to succeed or fail or take the path less traveled or the path of least resistance. Even people who choose the same path will have varied levels of success based on the fact that humans are not all the same. Humanity has a wide range of intelligence, strength, abilities, motivations, and interests. The fact that even if we are treated equally under the law, that we are not equal in ability means that it is irrational to expect equal outcomes. Ignoring these factors, insisting on parity, is bad for everyone. The lie that women are paid less than men for the same work comes from the fact that women have the freedom to choose to work fewer hours, to do less overtime, to spend more time with family, and pursue personal interest over professional. Attempting to force equality of outcomes also undermines meritocracy. Meritocracy is a system that allows those that have the natural ability and motivation to perform better at something to succeed over others. It is not a system where winners and losers are picked arbitrarily and where people are placed in positions or jobs based on group affiliation rather than ability. Meritocracy is one of the core tenets of individualism, as it allows every person to be judged on their own merits. The collectivist alternative is a system that seeks to promote individuals' based on identity groups rather than ability, towards the goal of parity. This concept values diversity of ethnic, sex, or cultural groups over the actual ability to perform a task. This prioritization is harmful to everyone. For example, if two firefighters graduate from a firefighting academy and both apply for the same fire station in the local area, it would be normal for the station to hire the student with the better performance in the academy. However, if the student with the better scores is a white straight male and the student with the lower scores is a 4'5", 90-pound sopping wet third wave feminist with barely passing scores
and blue hair,
is then hired, this would be wrong. This would be denying the better student the opportunity he had earned through his own merit, and gave a position to someone that may be ill-suited for it. This may be an extreme example, but diversity quotas are well documented in companies and universities, run by those who believe in social justice. In every case, when diversity is placed over actual merit, the business, university, or government institution suffers. This is because they have stopped hiring the best person for the job that applies and instead are settling for the best person who checks the most diversity boxes. The collectivist view of diversity comes down to taking from those who have earned it to give to those who have not. They justify this by saying that historical oppression of members of their group in the past has put them at a disadvantage that they must correct through redistribution of power and wealth. If we ignore for a moment that the flaw in this logic that every racial group has both been the oppressor and the oppressed throughout history as our species has evolved socially, then we can address how individualism is a far more equitable concept when dealing with these disparities. First, an individual is not guilty of any crime committed by any other person, even if that crime put another person at a disadvantage. The race of a person is irrelevant. If a black person chooses to hire another black person rather than me because of racial hatred, the person who was hired does not owe me money or their job. In this case, the racist employer may face backlash for his hatred, but the employee is not at fault. There are systemic disadvantages many years in the past that have harmed black people. Those systems have been changed and corrected. Black people now have the same legal rights and same opportunities available to them, sometimes more. This is evident in that black people have taken those opportunities to reach every level of government, become professors, the CEOs of wealthy companies, and gain political and social power. The disparities that remain in our society are not due to laws or institutions, but are greatly due to culture and devalued education, undermined strong family units, and encourage criminality and teach victimization. Ironically, social justice, teaching black communities that they are oppressed and are unable to succeed, has done more to retard the advancement of black communities than any other form of racism.
Yeah, it's destructive. It's totally destructive. I love how you said retard, but it's really destructive.
The social justice racism is the bigotry of low expectations. An individualist believes that all people, regardless of race, should have the equal opportunity to succeed based on their own abilities and efforts. Collectivists believe that some racial minorities are unable to succeed on their own and thus need to be given advantages over other groups to be successful.
There's a name for that. It's called racism.
Both the act of denying an opportunity rightly earned by a white person and the act of giving to a black person an unequal advantage because they are believed to be inadequate to achieve it on their own are both acts of racism. Their racism is made more evident with the published articles from social justice sources stating that tribal mysticism should be accepted as science, University of Cape Town, South Africa, or that logic and mathematics are for white people from Rochelle Gutierrez, math professor at University of Illinois, or that standardized testing is racist from thedailybeast.com, or that enforcing the law is racist. The result of social justice collectivist mindset is that you end up punishing entire groups for the acts of a few, while at the same time infantilizing and victimizing other groups they claim to be trying to help. Collectivism is just as bad when used by other groups such as white, black, nationalist groups. They use collectivist group identity as the basis for their bigotry. The only cure for this cancer is individualism. So the challenge before you is to treat every person based on their merits and not based on assumptions about what identity group they may belong to. It is important to do this even if others continuously make assumptions and blame you based on your identity group. Never accept blame they try to place on you for any words or actions that are not yours. Do not support organizations or political candidates that attempt to benefit any racial or identity group over others. Insist that every person have equal opportunity under the law, but do not allow the unfairness of forced equality of outcome. A white man has more in common with a black neighbor who shares his same culture than he does with a white man from another country and culture far different from his own. This would be clear if both persons interacted as individuals, not through the lens of collectivism. Always remember that each person is an individual and not part of a collective.
Well said.
So that is rule 1. The book is 14 rules long. So in 14 weeks, you should hear them all. You can write in the comments if you have some feedback. If you think I went wrong somewhere, I will consider every comment you make. Whether I agree with it or not, I will at least consider it. I hope you enjoyed the video, Cubs. This video was brought to you by Virtual Shield, because YouTube is literally demonetizing all of my content, no matter how innocent it is. But also because I do use Virtual Shield to protect my IP and my anonymity. If that's important to you as well, and you currently don't have an IP masking service, please check out the link below. Hello Cubs, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that like button, and if this is your first time and you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. And if you want YouTube to ignore your request for notifications from my channel, hit that bell button. It won't do anything, but at least you'll feel like you accomplished something. And if you want to support my channel financially, please check out my Patreon. Even $1 a month goes a long way. Monthly donations through Patreon, buying stuff from my merchandise store, or simply by watching and liking my videos. No matter what way you choose to support my channel, I thank you very much for your support.